steadily for like 6 months, I feel like. I just couldn't get well.
You'd think young Kelly Clarkson would say, you know what, that's insane that someone's going to pay me.
Turning 70 does something to a person. You stop worrying about what folks think and start telling the truth, the whole messy, beautiful truth. So here goes. For years, people have asked what really happened between me and Kelly. The friendship, the tension, the whispers on set. Well, tonight, I'm laying it out. 10 moments that shaped everything. The first time I met Kelly wasn't in some fancy backstage lounge. It was a rehearsal room that smelled like coffee and nerves. She'd just come off that whirlwind of fame from winning a TV competition, eyes wide, voice like lightning in a bottle. I remember thinking, that girl's got fire. But I also saw the storm that comes when the world hands you fame before you're ready. She was smiling, but her hands were trembling just a little. I told her, honey, you've got something rare. Don't let this business chew it up. Funny thing. She laughed and said, Reba, I think I'm already halfway swallowed. That's when I knew we were connected. Two women who'd both stared down the same machine. The moment everything started to shift. We sang together at a charity show in Nashville, and folks still talk about that duet. The crowd went quiet, like they were hearing two eras collide. Country royalty meeting pop powerhouse. But behind the spotlight, I saw something in her eyes that scared me. She was exhausted, chasing every note like it was the last breath in her lungs. I'd been there too. So after the show, I pulled her aside and said, you don't have to prove you belong. You already do. She nodded, but I could tell she didn't believe it yet. The next morning, headlines screamed, Reba McEntire's the next queen. Nobody knew that backstage. I'd been the one learning how easy it is to lose yourself when the world wants pieces of you. We started working together more closely. Award shows, interviews, television appearances. The media loved pairing us. The redhead legend and the powerhouse protege. What they didn't see was the tug of war underneath. Two women from different generations trying to protect the same dream. I'd tell her stories about the old days, smoky bars, broken strings, deals that
I think young Kelly's still the same Kelly. I just don't.
Fell through, and she'd laugh, saying, Reba, that sounds like another planet. Maybe it was. But one night, she called me after midnight, voice shaking. Reba, how do you stay kind when people twist everything you say? I didn't have a fancy answer. I just said, you breathe, baby. You breathe and sing your truth. Looking back now, I think that was the first time she really heard me. The turning point nobody saw coming. It was during The Voice. Cameras rolling, producers whispering, everybody chasing that perfect emotional moment. And there we were, two women smiling for the world while something unspoken simmered underneath. She was going through her divorce. I was still healing from mine. When she looked at me during a commercial break and said, you get it, don't you? I did, I really did. But I also knew what was coming. The headlines, the gossip, the so-called insiders saying there was tension between us. Truth is, there wasn't anger. There was heartbreak. Two people mirroring each other's pain. Fame has a funny way of making friendship feel like a performance.
An overnight decision. I'm not the person to be like, oh, well, it never happened, or nothing like that. No, it was beautiful.
Folks online pick sides like it's a game. Some said I was jealous. Others said she'd outgrown me. But the truth? We were just two women trying to survive the noise. You ever lose someone not because you fought, but because life pulled you in different directions? Yeah, that's how it felt. How the audience shaped our story. Fans were split down the middle. Some said it was beautiful watching generations unite. Others whispered about rivalry. I used to scroll through comments late at night. Yeah, I know I shouldn't. And I'd see messages like, Reba's just being replaced, or Kelly's outshining her mentor. Those words sting, even when you pretend they don't. But they also remind you why you started, to make people feel something, to prove that music still has a heartbeat. It was the night we recorded together again, years after that first duet that everyone called magic. Only this time, the magic came with pressure. The studio was buzzing, managers whispering, cameras lurking. I could feel Kelly's guard up, that spark in her dimmed by exhaustion. She smiled through it, but I saw her shoulders tighten every time someone compared us. You're just like Reba, they'd say, meaning it as a compliment. But I could see the shadow it cast. She wanted to be Kelly, not the next anybody. I remember pausing between takes, turning to her and saying, you don't owe anyone your resemblance, darling. Just sing the way you were born to. She looked at me and whispered, I'm trying, Reba. I really am. Something in that moment broke me a little, because I knew that look. It's the look of someone who loves what they do, but isn't sure if they still belong. The world was watching every move we made. Kelly's show was booming, and people started calling her America's sweetheart. I was proud. Truly.
How far did you go?
Not very far.
You stopped after this photo was taken?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I got my picture taken. That's all I needed.
That's all you need, yeah. But
Daddy used to say, Reba, why do you want to do stuff you're not good at?
is that right?
Yeah, that was it.
That was it, yeah. He's like, but he knew that you could sing?
Yeah, he said, get in there and practice your singing. I thought, well, how do you do that? It's not nearly as much fun as going out and riding your horse and, going competing.
And where were you singing?
Where was I singing?
Yeah.
Well, I started in first grade. Christmas program behind.
Proud. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel the sting of fading spotlight. There's this funny thing about fame. It doesn't tell you when it's leaving. It just quietly slips out the back door while you're still singing. I'd catch myself wondering, have I done enough? Do people still care? And right when that fear crept in, Kelly would send me the sweetest message out of nowhere. Something like, hey, saw your old performance today. You still kill it. It reminded me that what we had wasn't competition. It was connection. Still, when she invited me on her talk show that first time, I hesitated. I didn't want the cameras turning what was personal into performance. But I said yes, because sometimes showing up is the bravest thing you can do. That day on her show, my goodness, it felt like two worlds meeting again. She looked radiant, confident, but when the lights dimmed during the commercial break, she leaned in and said, Reba, I get it now. The pressure, the rumors, the loneliness behind all the glitter. My throat tightened. I wanted to say something wise, something comforting, but all I managed was, yeah, baby. It's a wild ride. We laughed, but there was a sadness in it. That's when I realized we weren't mentor and student anymore. We were equals, carrying different weights, but walking the same road. The internet got real noisy. Folks online love to stir things up, don't they? They'd twist our words, snip our interviews, and suddenly, people thought there was bad blood. Some fans sided with her, others with me. It broke my heart a little, not because of the rumors, but because it felt like they missed the point. Music's supposed to bring people together, not turn them into teams. I saw comments like, Reba's just jealous, or Kelly doesn't respect the legends. Truth is, we respected each other deeply, maybe too much to play into that circus. But still, you can't help but feel that sting when strangers write your story for you. I started avoiding the gossip altogether, focusing instead on the folks who still showed up to my concerts, singing every word like it was church. Those fans, they keep me grounded. The moment everything quietly shifted again. It wasn't dramatic, no tears or shouting, just one of those subtle changes life sneaks in. We were both backstage at an award show, waiting to go on. She was wearing this stunning emerald dress, glowing like new money, and I couldn't help but smile. I walked over, hugged her, and said, You're doing just fine, kiddo. She grinned and shot back, You taught me how to survive this circus. It hit me right then that maybe that was my role all along. Not to outshine or outlast, but to guide and let go. I realized you don't lose the spotlight by stepping aside. You expand it. It was the night of the storm. Not a metaphorical one, a real one. Thunder shaking the windows, rain hammering Nashville like it had something to prove. I was sitting by the piano, sipping tea that went cold an hour ago, when my phone buzzed. It was Kelly. She'd just gone through one of the hardest seasons of her life, and I could hear the tired in her voice before she even said hello. She didn't ask for advice, didn't cry or vent. She just said, How do you keep going, Reba? When everything feels too heavy. I remember staring out the window, lightning splitting the sky, and I said, You keep going, because quitting ain't in your bones. You sing through it. It was about a song. We were performing at an award show again, years apart, but side by side, trading verses on a classic we both loved. The lights hit her face, and for a second, I saw myself in her, young, hungry, full of fire. The crowd roared, and she turned to me with that grin like we were back at square one. I swear, I almost lost it. You ever have a moment that feels like time folds over itself? Like past and present shake hands? That's what it was. After the show, she hugged me so tight it nearly cracked my ribs, and she whispered, Thank you for not giving up on me. And Lord, that hit deep, because I hadn't always been perfect. I'd pulled away when life got messy, when things were misunderstood. But that night, it felt like forgiveness. Mutual, quiet, complete. Some fans still whisper about tension, about cold looks at award shows or hidden shade in interviews. I read those comments sometimes and can't help but chuckle. Folks love a story with drama, don't they? But here's what most people don't see. The real story's quieter. It's coffee in dressing rooms, late-night pep talks, messy laughter, and shared tears. You can't fake that kind of bond. And honestly, the fans who do get it, the ones who comment things like, "I love how genuine their respect is," or "You can tell they mean it when they hug," those folks restore my faith a little. Because they're not looking for gossip, they're looking for heart. Now let me leave you with 2 questions to carry with you. Have you ever had someone in your life who changed you, even if they weren't meant to stay forever? And when that chapter ended, did it hurt, or did it set you free?